Okay, let me make sure streaming. Oh, all right. Okay, let me make sure streaming. Right, get started here in a sec, guys. Okay. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everyone's okay. Hope everyone's in a good place mentally. I was gonna do one last night. I was gonna do this stream, but you got to take a day to think about this. We haven't had a playoff win in a long time. We damn sure even had a playoff loss in quite some time. And even the last playoff loss, I mean, did we ever expect to win that game? You know, no. I didn't even expect the Raiders to win this game, and the fact that they even lost by one score. And we're going to get into the we're going to get into the why things happen, what happened, who's at fault, who needs to stay, who needs to go. We're going to get into all that stuff. Um, but I do have to say, in retrospect, looking at these wild card games this weekend, I saw better teams. Like I believe the San Francisco 49ers are a more talented team than the Raiders. I'm sorry, the Dallas Cowboys, I meant to say, lose to the San Francisco 49ers. I thought they were a more talented team than the Raiders, although the Raiders did beat them in a head-to-head. They get their ass, or not ass kicked, but for the majority of the game, they were playing from behind. Then you see New England Patriots. I mean, coached by the best coach maybe ever, get absolutely dog walked by the Bills. The Raiders held their own, I thought, and truly beat the, I will say, like, the Raiders held their own, but they beat themselves in a lot of ways. We definitely had some issues with Jerome Boger's crew, which I'll get into soon. A question in the comments: what am I drinking? I have this very fancy beer glass, a German beer glass from Spyglau, and I am drinking a New Belgium experimental IPA. It's kind of people who make like Voodoo Ranger and all that stuff. So I'm just enjoying one of those right now. Um, you know, and I already see Rich in the chat is ready for me to fire off on Derek Carr. I don't know if Rich is gonna like this one personally, but we're not to Derek Carr yet. I don't know if you're gonna like what I have to say, Rich. So let's talk about this game. Just some quick observations from the game. Final score aside, what was I seeing in this game? I thought the Raiders this whole game was like the final score. I'm telling myself after the Charger game, look, I don't care what happens in the playoffs. I'm glad we got to the playoffs. Once the game comes around, once the kickoff goes into play, or once the game kicks off, I'm like, man, I'm okay. Now we got to win. My brain's now is I expect to win now, right? Because we're fans. We're fans of the game. That's how this works. And throughout the game, I'm just noticing just a huge talent discrepancy between the two teams, mainly with early draft picks. Cincinnati Bengals have hit on almost all their early draft picks. Now they've had the benefit of back-to-back years having very easy choices at the top of the draft. They had the number one overall pick in 2019. Joe Burrow sitting right there. You take Joe Burrow, of course you do. So now you don't have to think about it, especially the guy was a local guy too. But then you have, Jamar Chase the next year, picked at fifth overall. I'm sorry, 2020 and 2021. I was a year behind on Burrow. Burrow's 2020, Chase 2021. Duh. Chase is sitting there at 5 overall, slides down a few spots, gets picked fifth. Now, who did the Raiders pick 4th overall in the 2019 draft? They picked Cleveland Ferrell. Now, are all top 5s of every draft loaded the way that the Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow drafts were? No. In fact, the Raiders had probably quite a bit of, you know, quite a bit of, what am I trying to say here? Like the Raiders draft, when they drafted Cleveland Ferrell, was not super loaded there. However, you had a defensive end named Brian Burns, who's far and away better. Cleveland Ferrell is a rotational defensive end on a middle of the pack defense for the Raiders. So, you know, you're just noticing like, okay, and then two other top 20 picks for the Raiders, not on the field. Henry Ruggs, Damon Arnett. They're never going to play a snap for the Raiders ever again. And you see these guys with the Bengals. Jamar Chase is a star. Joe Burrow, star. You see just that simple talent. The Raiders have just punted so many draft picks away. Draft pick after draft pick after draft pick. High up. You know, for every Max Crosby you show me, I can show you 2 Damon Arnett's, Cleveland Ferrell guys. You know what I mean? It's starting to add up. And it's unfair for us to ask these guys like Nate Hobbs to be all pros just because the guys we pick, like Alex Leatherwood, round 1. Alex Leatherwood is another top 20 pick who absolutely sucks, right? He's horrible. You see late in the game, the Raiders really have that run game going. I don't know if this is the second or the third quarter, so maybe not late in the game, but they really have the run game going. Get down to the 1-yard line. Penalty, called back. Alex Leatherwood. So now you're at 3rd and goal from the 15. 2nd and goal from the 15. Then of course we understand how Derek Carr, Greg Olsen, and the Raiders offense performs in the red zone. It's not great. And you're not even close enough to get Mariota in that game. I mean, at least not by their logic, not by the way they use Mariota. They use him in short yardage situations. So, you know, that's where what I notice is like, I don't know if Zach Taylor is a better coach than, you know, the league average coach in the league, but I understand that they've made an absolute, they've prioritized top talent every single year. Those Bengals, right? They've done that, and they have weaknesses on their team. I don't think their offensive line is particularly good. They had trouble running the ball against the Raiders, but they just have these guys that are just better, right? I saw there was one play where Joe Burrow threw a back shoulder fade to Jamar Chase on the sideline, and it was just easy money. Desmond Trufant was never going to get there. It's just my best guy against your best guy, and they win. And I'm kind of tired of marching out wide receiver cores of Zay Jones. I'm tired of having patchwork offensive lines. I'm tired of having, you know, secondary players just, we're in the area, but, you know, if we'll catch it, hopefully we'll let you catch stuff on us. I'm tired of quarterbacks not, you know, being able to use their feet and move around in the pocket, extend plays and be aggressive. I'm tired of that too. I'm just tired of it all in that sense. And that's what's going to have to go. That's what's going to have to go right. And now, another thing I noticed in the game was really just the mistakes, right? The mistakes, not even just penalties. Peyton Barber, right? So much happened in this game that I think we almost forget about what Peyton Barber did in the first quarter. He touched a ball that was going out of bounds. The Raiders were going to get this ball at the 35 or 40-yard line. I can't remember what the penalty yardage is. They were going to get that ball. And it was gonna go out of bounds, and they were gonna get that ball and be very close to midfield, right? They were struggling early, and that would have been really good. But instead, they get it at the 2-yard line. They almost end up getting a safety on the play, right? Protection breaks down. Derek Carr sits there. We understand that story. I'm glad he doesn't fumble. And, you know, also Derek Carr fumble after that. I want to say it was a possession after. You have the Derek Carr fumble. It's a blindside sack. Protection breaks down. Derek Carr fumbles, right? At the end of the day, I don't fault Derek Carr for the sack. I fault him for the ball coming out, right? That's fair. I think that's fair to put that on him. I'm already seeing an argument going on about Carr in the comments. With Derek Carr, I don't excuse a lot of his stuff, and I will do a full on thing on Derek Carr in a sec. I hate when I'm trying to make other points and then I'm like comes back to Carr. It's just I try to do it all in a certain time. But with Derek Carr, I know what he is. I know what he is and I know what he isn't, right? I know he's not an elite quarterback. However, I know he's probably the best player on that offense, which is, again, speaking to the talent disparity. To be honest, he shouldn't be our best player. He should be the game manager of a bunch of great players around him, is what should be happening on this team. And the Raiders had plenty of opportunities to build that, and they haven't. So The people that hate him the most are the ones that expect him to play elite, and I don't. So I expect him to play the way he always plays, and I expect people to make plays, right? And there were drops, right? We're looking at Brian Edwards. Brian Edwards drop right over the middle. Hunter Renfrow late in the game. I hate blaming anything on Hunter Renfrow. He's been a godsend to this team. Fantastic player, but he had a tough time with Mike Hilton. And when he got free late towards the corner, he catches the ball, perfect throw, and the ball gets punched out. Now I think that ball should have remained a catch, right? I think that ball should have remained a catch. They called it a catch. It should have remained a catch. We still don't know what the hell a catch is in the NFL. But at the end of the day, man, like that ball shouldn't be getting punched out. And what I've noticed with the Raiders is like everybody on this team seems to have small hands. And no team is easier to punch the ball out of than the Raiders. All around. All around. Even Foster Moreau, if you look at the Chiefs or the Chargers game on Sunday night, the ball, you could see the guy coming from behind him in slow motion doing the punch. And you're like, that ball's coming out. I've seen Jacobs have it happen from behind. Guys are doing it from behind on them. And you know, Hunter Renfrow has 7-inch hands. Like it's time to start prioritizing really good athletes for the Raiders. Really good athletes, physical specimen. Look at Jamar Chase. There were plenty of times Jamar Chase, Raiders punching at that ball, and he's like, no, it's not coming out. And I understand Jamar Chase is an elite player, and he's probably like on a trajectory to be maybe one of the better receivers we've seen in a long time. I'm not saying they have to be that good, but we have to chase that kind of talent instead of these Gruden grinder guys, right? And now let's talk about Jerome Boger, the officiating crew. I mean, awful job officiating. You know, the Raiders lose by 7 points, and you can go back to the Bengals last drive of the half where they score a touchdown when the play's blown dead. The play gets blown dead. Joe Burrow's running near out of bounds. The referee obviously blew the whistle because he thought Burrow was out of bounds. It almost seemed like he blew the whistle when he didn't mean to, but nonetheless, the whistle gets blown. Players stop playing. Every single player is coached to not play beyond the whistle. You get penalties when that happens sometimes. If you jump up and try to make a play on that ball, you hit Tyler Boyd in the head on accident, who knows what they call, especially with Jerome Boger out there. Their crew's not even working for the rest of the playoffs. Truly, they're not getting another playoff game, right? Coincidence? I think not. It's not reviewable, and Charles Woodson had an amazing clip on it today. I believe on the might have been the Fox pregame, and he was just like, "Why the Raiders are just always at the center of these really weird anomaly plays, like the index card stuff, tuck rule, things like that." You know, so that's another thing. Like, why is it always us that this happens to? I mean, it's not only us. The Saints get a lot of weird stuff like that too, but just with the fact that in the playoffs, you just need certain things to go right. And that's one of the things that happened. Now, there's a possibility that they replay the down in the Bengals score anyways. That's fine. I just want the chance. The Raiders have done a pretty good job at stopping the Bengals in the red zone, at least holding them to field goals. They had been doing that a lot. McPherson kicked a lot of field goals in that game. So did we. And that really annoyed me. I knew that was going to come into play later, especially when the Raiders scored at the end of the half. I said, okay, well, the Raiders are showing signs of life. And if they lose by a touchdown, do things in the second quarter determine the outcome of the game? Not directly, right? Because the Raiders still had a chance at the end of the game. They still had a chance at the end of the game, right? And I'm going to get to that too, that last sequence. But no, like they don't dictate that. However, like they're not nothing, and things that cause touchdowns to happen, you have to take that into account. Yeah, the Bengals won the game. And I'm not saying it's a game played with an asterisk. I'm not that emotional of a Raider fan. I don't cope that hard, but that's bad. That's awful. I mean, Trayvon Merrick clearly stopped playing because he heard the whistle. All these guys did. So, another thing I noticed too is I don't know what's up with Darren Waller, and a lot of people are putting that on Derek Carr, but all I'm saying is I'm seeing a different guy 5 weeks before the injury. I saw a different guy. He was kind of getting frozen out. Teams were game planning to him. We did not have a lot of wide receivers on the outside people had to worry about after Ruggs went down, right? Like Waller's numbers after Ruggs go down, or after Ruggs, DUI, weren't great. I mean, it's common game planning for a defense is, oh, we don't have to worry about 11 deep going deep anymore. Let's go after 83, right? That happens. Okay, yeah, sure, makes sense. But all I'm saying is Darren Waller in a good place right now? I don't want to accuse somebody of anything. I don't even really like putting this rumor out there, but we understand Waller's past. Is he okay? His head not being turned around when the ball's thrown at him. His routes, the breaks aren't as crisp. Now maybe he's still hurt. I'm just saying, I'm not a medical professional or anything like that. Maybe he's still hurt. Is Waller okay? That's all I want to know. Anybody who's dealt with what he's dealt with understands that that is a lifetime battle. And when he had 5 weeks without football, an idle mind is the devil's playground. And who knows if he had to take certain things to, get his injury. So I am not speculating. I've not heard anything like this. I have not, there's nobody's telling me anything. This is just stuff that I'm seeing, right? Just a thought. I am not on the trade Waller camp. I'm not on that. I don't even believe he's going to ask for one personally. I think whoever comes in to coach this team is going to understand you got to take care of 83. I don't think so. And that's all I'm saying. Let's just keep an eye out for that. And no judgment if he is. I understand that that's just an issue he has to deal with. We have the offseason coming up now, and I think he's a very responsible guy that's helped a lot of people with stuff. But we'll see. We'll see. He just looks off, right? He looks off. Like it's not even so much it's not even so much all on him, but it definitely feels that way. Now let's go to that last drive of the game. That last drive of the game, everybody's talking about it right now. I am not in the Derek Carr debate very much because my stance on him is very clear. I didn't have a lot of faith of them converting that last touchdown drive. I just didn't see it happening. Didn't feel right. However, when he put that ball on Darren Waller in the seam, one-handed catch, okay, start thinking about stuff. Some people are saying, why did we get up and spike it? I liked that. I liked the spike. You don't want to make a brash, dumb decision. I don't think the Bengals were going to get caught off bar, caught off guard. I didn't think that was going to happen, but I like spiking it there. 3 shots at the end zone. That's fine. You only had 30 seconds with no timeouts. So even if anything was inbounds, you probably weren't going to get 4 chances at it. That's fine. The problem was a couple things here. It does suck when your quarterback is limited mobility wise, or at least won't run, right? I think he's okay. He ran a couple times in the game. He's just not a natural runner, nor does it seem to enter his mind until it's too late. Most of the time, processing as far as keeping his eyes downfield and running seemed to still be something that he's just probably not going to pick up in his career. But you just got to be able to get a couple yards and get out of bounds if the touchdown play is not there. And you saw a couple wasted plays there that didn't get them any yards, took time off the clock, and then forced an end zone or bust play at the end. And what was the end zone or bust play that you run? It was called curl flat. Curl flat is something you run in Madden, and it's a play I don't even like running in Madden. It barely even works in there unless you have just superstar guys everywhere. On that play, and there are a lot of people who I am shaking my head at, people who think Waller was open on that play. No, he was not. He was not open. Now, I'm not saying the decision to force the ball to double coverage to Zay Jones is correct, because I don't think that was. But Waller, you should send everybody to the end zone. By the time Carr is planting his back foot, people should be within 3 to 4 yards of the end zone. That's not what happened. Those guys. That's the way the play is designed. Could Carr have held onto the ball longer? Yeah, absolutely. And I wish he did. I wish he held onto the ball longer, scrambled around, bought some time, hero ball. You still had time left to throw it out of the back of the end zone. Totally. Right. Or not back of the end zone, excuse me, but just throw it up, get a prayer. You had time to do that. But that didn't happen. And by the time that ball was thrown, you were banking on a very slowly developing play, Darren Waller running a wheel route, which I'm sorry, he's not open. Von Bell, the safety, came in once he saw the ball going to Zay Jones. He was there taking care of Waller in the back of the end zone. I still take that chance one-on-one there personally, That's what I do. I know Edwards was doing the same thing on the other way. But what Renfro and Waller are your two money makers on this offense. They need to be in the end zone. Yeah, Renfro's probably not winning a jump ball, but Waller's 6'5", dude. You can throw it up. I need a better play than that, and I need Greg Olsen gone. I need Greg Olsen gone. And Zay Jones isn't even in the end zone when they throw it to him. So how many players are in the end zone on that play? Not many. Call a better play. You know what I'm saying? And I'm mad at Greg Olsen for not running the ball to Jacobs a lot more, right? There were a lot of plays where, especially when the offensive line was not particularly, passing game wasn't good. The offensive line wasn't protecting well. I thought there were yards to be had on the ground against this Bengal defense that the Raiders simply weren't taking. And now they were shooting themselves in the foot with these holding penalties. I thought Jacobs could have had a lot more than what he got, even without any more extended carries. But I'm just telling you right now, when you have this like lack of talent, you need everything to be perfect. You need everything to be perfect on this team, and it isn't. And it's like, what roster that's in the playoffs right now is truly worse than the Raiders? I'm watching the Steelers right now. They're a better roster than the Raiders are. They have a Big Ben problem at quarterback, right? But their roster is a lot better than the Raiders. At the end of the day, they went 10-7, losing their number one outside wide receiver, having a defense that struggled in the red zone, and having a quarterback that isn't really like an elite quarterback at all. So it is impressive that they even got there, to be quite honest. And they managed to win a lot of games in overtime. So it seems like they were a motivated team. It didn't seem like they came out flat. It's just like, just at the end of the day, I'm seeing these plays where Foster Moreau is covered and the ball's thrown his way. And it's not a great ball, but I just see on other teams, I see guys making catches in coverage. I see quarterbacks scrambling around, buying time, having an ear for that rush, having just that mental clock on them and moving around. I don't see that with the Raiders. With the Raiders, it's very robotic and it's very like everything looks strained. Everything looks like a struggle, and it looks like a miracle whenever a big play happens. Right? And I don't, a lot. Okay, let's move on. Right? We lost. Okay, Raiders lost. I had a feeling they were going to lose. I bet against them. I mean, it is what it is. Let's move on to who stays, who goes. I'm not saying everybody, but let's start from the top. Derek Carr. Austin Gale had a tweet today, and I thought this was really good, a really good way to pose this. Austin Gale came on my show one time. If you're new to the podcast, it is on this channel. He came on and right before the draft of last year. He came on the show, gave me about 15 minutes of his time, and it was really nice. So I've always had respect for Austin Gale. Lowly podcaster like myself, he answered, was prompt, got on here, had a fun time talking to him. But Austin Gale, he's a PFF. He said this: the Raiders should trade Derek Carr for a first rounder and some change. So he's with me. He thinks Derek Carr is worth a first and some change if you trade him, before they pay him $33 million per year on a new contract. Carr is easily in the top 10 to 14 range among starters, but needs a strong supporting cast to win in the postseason. The Raiders won't have that for some time. So what do we think of that? What do we think about that? So a couple things. I actually agree with everything he said. I don't believe that the Raiders are that bad of a roster. I believe that they don't have top end talent, but you can get a couple of pieces that make you legit in a season, right? And then keep adding talent. You look at these teams like the Baltimore Ravens, and I know the Ravens didn't make the playoffs this year, but typically they're in the playoffs every year. Pittsburgh Steelers, they always seem to manage to draft a guy in the 20s that's better than anybody the Raiders draft in the top 10, right? Or the top 15. They always manage to take that guy. There's talent everywhere through the draft. You have to have the right guy there making the pick. But getting back to Carr, I do take the trade. If somebody offers me a first round pick and some change, what are we talking about for change? A second or a third additionally, right? Maybe some conditional picks, something like that. I'd probably take it. But in my mind, I am saying that next year is probably a wash, right? Because I don't see it's a very tough year to trade your quarterback if you know if Carr is a known commodity. What is a known commodity, right? In the business world, a known commodity is I know exactly what I'm getting out of somebody. Now we understand Carr turns the ball over a lot, way more than we want to as a game manager, but I pretty much know what I'm getting out of him every day. And I know that if I surround him with guys who can run after the catch, because the Raiders don't have any of those people on their team. They have no yak guys except Renfro. Now, to be fair, you look at, let's see. And okay, I'm looking in the comments here. I'm looking at the comments. This makes no sense. The Raiders just made it to the playoffs without the very thing he said Carr needs. Yeah, they made it to the playoffs. Were they ever a serious contender? Did anyone think the Raiders were winning the Super Bowl with this roster? Truly, did you think that? If you think that, don't, I don't know. I have a bridge to sell you. They have the least talented roster of any playoff team. I don't see them doing that. It's not like, oh, Derek Carr is innocent of everything. You guys understand, I don't think Derek Carr is a top 5 quarterback in the league. You understand I'm different than people on Twitter that are, have him as their Avi and people like that. I understand what he is. And I'm just saying, like, I don't think that you were going to lead this insane thing. You were going to need exceptional play out of Carr. But at the end of the day, I just watched the Niners beat the Cowboys with Jimmy G. Do you truly think Jimmy G is better than Derek Carr? Truly answer me. Nobody, hey, it's fine. Truly answer me. You think Jimmy G is better than Derek Carr? He won the game. Is he better? Yeah, well, no, my dog is not having that. I think my dog's secretly a Niner fan, honestly. It's really annoying. Yeah. No. They're not, like, I never saw it. It was just like, you know what, we made it to the playoffs. That's fine. But Jimmy G is not better than Derek Carr. What does Jimmy G asked to do? He's asked to throw it to guys who run after the catch, hand the ball off, and run. Okay? You say they're the same guy, but the one guy's gone to a Super Bowl, has a 30-13 career record, and I can't name one clutch throw Jimmy G's ever made. In fact, he missed one to win the Super Bowl. My problem was with the Raiders is that they had a huge chance from 2019 to 2021. They had a huge chance. 6 first-round picks, a bunch of mid-round picks, 3 third-round picks one year. They draft Tanner Muse, Cleveland Ferrell, Jonathan Abram, Josh Jacobs, who's fine. He's good. He's a running back that doesn't have top-end speed and needs a lot more than he has around him to be successful. Damon Arnett, Henry Ruggs, who's not on the team anymore. All that stuff. If 3 or 4 of those guys are good, just solid, good players, this team is, no joke, hosting the game against the Bengals, hosting a game in the playoffs, even if Derek Carr changes nothing about him. You're saying Jimmy G's been to the big one, though. Name one big throw he made. In the NFC Championship game against Green Bay, when they went to the big one, Jimmy G had 0 touchdown passes, if I'm not mistaken. Raheem Mostert, 3 touchdowns, 220 yards. He was literally handing the ball off, okay? The Niners have built a juggernaut around him, right? A juggernaut. And he's holding them back. Even they know that, right? They go trade up and do that stuff for Trey Lance, but they're in a weird spot right now because Trey Lance ain't ready. Jimmy G still got them in the playoffs, and they don't know what to do now. And they might have pissed their shit away. Like, they may have pissed their chance away. And of course, dude, if I saw a meaningful opportunity to go get somebody like Aaron Rodgers, I'd go do it. But am I expecting Aaron Rodgers to take this team to the Super Bowl? Probably not. Aaron Rodgers depends a lot on Devontae Adams. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's all I'm saying. Is that there are about 5 elite quarterbacks in the game. 5. You don't have many more of that. You try to get one anytime you can. And I'm all for it. I don't see any in the draft coming up. I truly don't. I haven't done my deep dives yet, but even the guys I know who've been on the draft don't even really do NFL football throughout the year, through the draft. They're telling me, they're like, look, there might be one or two, but like I just, it's not like years past. And the free agent market sucks too. So on the Raiders are in a conundrum with Derek Carr, right? And we all know, I understand. I don't think Derek Carr is going to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback with the Raiders. I don't think that. I just don't know what you want to do right now. And you can everybody's solution is trade for Russell Wilson, trade for Aaron Rodgers, trade for Deshaun Watson. Okay, first off, Russell Wilson has a better supporting cast than Derek Carr. I'm not kidding. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, they actually have a pretty good run game, and their offensive line is actually better than the Raiders. They suck this year. So you'd want to trade 2 first-round picks for that. That doesn't excite me that much. And I'm not sure it excites Russell Wilson either. Aaron Rodgers, I don't think he's leaving Green Bay. We'll see what happens. I actually think the Niners are going to beat them next week. That might stir up a little feathers. Maybe he's on the block after that. Yeah, I risk it all for Aaron Rodgers. Although I think other teams will have us beat. I think Philadelphia Eagles have 3 first-round picks. I could see them doing it. I could see a lot of other teams having better situations for him to go to. However, an indoor stadium to Aaron Rodgers could be appealing to him. You might not want to play in the cold anymore. And, Deshaun Watson, what is going on there? I don't even know. I like Deshaun Watson. He's had a year off. I don't know what kind of shape he's in right now. I have a hard time believing that he's going to come back into the league and no suspension will be given to him, especially in the woke society that we're in nowadays. Aaron Rodgers does not have one weapon, dude. Stop. Relax. Come on. He does not have one weapon. Come on. Literally, yes. And you're talking about the greatest quarterback in the game right now. I told you I trade for Aaron Rodgers. You're talking about the best quarterback in the game right now. I have never once said, show me anybody in this chat right now who thinks Derek Carr is better than Aaron Rodgers. Go get him. He's not going to be available. He's not going to be available. And his one weapon is the best wide receiver in football. It's a bit different when you're talking about one weapon or the best receiver in football. That's all I'm saying. So here's what I mean. With Derek Carr, you could trade him now. You just have to punt next season away. Next season's gone because I don't see a replacement on the roster. A lot of people say it's Mariota. I don't think Mariota could withstand a season of getting hit, to be honest. But sure, that's fine. That's fine. No, he has Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. Those are 2 great running backs, good offensive line, and he's also just really good. So I don't understand what you're saying. He has one weapon. You're talking about a team, and his defense has played fantastic this year. So I'm very confused as why you think Aaron Rodgers has no help. Plus, Matt LaFleur is a great coach. He has a since LaFleur's been in there, Rodgers' numbers have skyrocketed. So that's fine. Nonetheless, what do? Do you trade him? Do you trade him? Like, if you do, who's your GM? Do you want Mike Mayock drafting our next quarterback? I don't even want Mike Mayock drafting our next cornerback. Right? You got to get a new GM. If I have a new GM in there, maybe I trust him. Because if I trade Carr and it's going to feel the same as the guy who drafted Jonathan Abram with the draft picks that he got for Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper turned into Jonathan Abram. Khalil Mack turned into Josh Jacobs, Bryan Edwards, and Damon Arnett. Bryan Edwards is not good, at least yet. Damon Arnett's not even on the team anymore and wasn't good when he was. Josh Jacobs is a running back. I'm sorry. The 2 weapons that I just said Aaron Rodgers had, Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, not drafted in the first round, both better than Josh Jacobs. Sorry, debate your dog. I'll debate my dog about it. I do all the time. The only reason I want to keep Derek Carr, like the only reason I'd even want to, and I'm about 50-50. Do I want to keep him? Do I want to trade him while his money's hot? I don't really want to pay him that much anymore. I just don't I don't trust the people drafting. They haven't shown me they can replace this person. Good teams have that ability to constantly be bringing in talent while they're cycling out high paid talent. The Raiders have not been able to show that they can do that. And Derek Carr is the only known commodity on this team. Everybody else is, and Darren Waller, I'll say. But then again, I'm seeing something out of Darren Waller I just don't like. That's all I'm saying. So if you're bringing in some new GM, I'll give him the chance. But if it's Mike Mayock, first off, I don't even think he's going to get rid of Carr, personally. I truly don't. I don't think he's going to get rid of Carr. But I don't like the way this organization drafts. That's always been my problem. That's always been my problem. AJ Dillon was AJ Dillon a first round pick? Somebody in here saying AJ Dillon's a first round pick. No, AJ Dillon was a second round pick. Late second round pick, actually. Almost a third round pick. So that's what I mean. All right. And then on defense, right? On defense. I love Max Crosby. I thought Max Crosby showed up. I thought he had a nice game. Was he dominant? No, but that's fine. He shouldn't. The way I don't think Derek Carr needs to have an insane dominant performance every time. I don't believe Max Crosby has to either. It's not. Good defense isn't let's put it all on one guy. A good offense isn't let's put it all on one guy. It's having good coaches, good scheme, good surrounding talent, and a good quarterback that can make big throws. All right. Derek Carr didn't make the big throw yesterday. I'll give you that. He didn't. But I know it can get a lot better around him. And now what you run the risk of is, let's say you do bring Derek Carr back next year. His contract next year is very good for starting quarterbacks. There are worse quarterbacks making $10 million more than him this year. Like Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins. They're worse quarterbacks than him, making $10 million more. But, then you run the risk of, okay, maybe this isn't my guy for the future. Do you get nothing for him if he were to leave to go somewhere else? And that sucks. Then you didn't capitalize on his value. It's a conundrum, right? I don't have the answer to it. Because I understand the frustration with him. However, I don't trust this organization to replace him. That's always been the problem. We couldn't replace Khalil Mack until we got Max Crosby, right? But I'd rather have Khalil Mack and Max Crosby. Don't let anyone tell you that couldn't have happened. We didn't do a really good job replacing Amari Cooper. Didn't really do a good job, replacing a lot of people. In fact, we didn't even do a good job about having talent we had to replace, because there wasn't even talent to begin with. And so the fact that this team was 10-7, even though I literally predicted 10-7 for the Raiders with an early round playoff exit, and I still managed to be shocked about how it all went down, right? Losing Ruggs. I didn't predict that. I didn't predict Henry Ruggs would kill somebody behind the wheel of his car. I didn't predict Waller would miss 5 weeks. I didn't predict any of that stuff. I will say, and you do have to give the Raiders a little bit of credit, and they are on the right path. They just cannot get complacent. They cannot say, Mike Mayock, actually, you're good. We made the playoffs. That's what you can't do if you're Mark Davis. You're a beta if you do that. You're an absolute beta male if you think, wow, Mike Mayock, you were right this whole time, right? So maybe an alpha move is like Raider Rich is saying, get the value for Derek Carr right now. All I'm saying is I just don't know who you're bringing in. I don't know who my GM is. I don't know who my head coach is right now. Now, they haven't fired Mike Mayock yet, which is interesting. But, the longer we go, I don't know how long, the longer we go on without a coach, the more I think it's not Rich. The longer we go on without an announcement on Mayock, the more I think Mayock stays. And I really don't want Mike Mayock to stay. I don't want anybody who was around while the team blew 5 first-round picks in a row, possibly 6, because Leatherwood looks awful, but it's early. It's early with Leatherwood. I cannot say year 1 he's a bust. I can't, right? Offensive lineman especially. So yeah, let's get Mayock out of here. If you get Mayock out of here, you could talk me into trading Carr if I like the hire. Okay. The reason I get conservative about upgrading a quarterback is because it's very tough to do it if you don't have a competent organization, right? And I think a lot of fans secretly want to get rid of him because they want to dunk on people on Twitter about it, to be honest. More than anything, right? First thing people will do will make fun of all the people they argued with about Carr, right? Oh, he's gone, got rid of his ass, blah, 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 right? And then all year it becomes still like even after Carr leaves, it's going to be an insane debate because people are going to then watch wherever Carr goes. They're going to watch that game that he's playing in. And yeah, we'd have a vested interest, especially if it's a future pick, right? If it's a future pick, you'd have a vested interest in him losing games, but you're going to see that coupled with what are the Raiders doing without Carr. I'm not saying it's impossible to improve without him. I'm just saying under the current circumstances, if Mark Davis does not put his big boy pants on, speak to his dad spiritually or something, maybe you should go do some DMT, talk to spirits and something like that. Maybe talk to Al beyond the grave and be like, look, dude, Al wouldn't put up with any of this shit, dude. Al would have got rid of a lot of this stuff, man. Especially like even after this, I'm sorry, they made the playoffs. It's good. It's good that they've made the playoffs. They don't have to see that longest playoff drought thing anymore. It's really good, but he wouldn't get complacent, and Mark Davis needs to not get complacent either. Okay, year 2 in Vegas making the playoffs is fine, but you cannot regress the next year. And if this roster does not get better, this will not be a playoff roster next year. I'm sorry, not going to happen. This will not be a playoff roster. Compare it with any roster of anyone that's in the playoffs right now. It doesn't even compare. I want to win a championship too. I want to win a championship. I agree. Show me the quarterback that wins you a championship right now other than Aaron Rodgers, because you just I want to trade for Patrick Mahomes. Okay. Show me the options. Do you trust his coaching staff to develop somebody young? I don't. Truly, I don't. Like I want all this stuff around. I want to make this easier for our next quarterback. I want whoever the quarterback is next year to have a lot easier go than Derek Carr's had, right? And I'm not putting the baby gloves on for him, but I'm sorry, throwing to Zay Jones, having Greg Olsen, who just hasn't been good. I'm sorry. Having a bad offensive line. It's a lot. Kirk Cousins is like pretty mid, right? Like we'd say that mid to maybe bad. That dude's got Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, right? Like he's got some guys to throw to. So it's like, we've already admitted that Derek Carr's coveted by a lot of teams, right? I'm out on Russell Wilson. I already explained that. Completely out on Russell Wilson. I love Russell Wilson. I think if you're trading for him, you are getting the back end of his career, Russell Wilson. Absolutely not. That one I'm out on because that's going to take at least 2 first-round picks because of his name recognition. And to me, that is going to be like a death blow to this team, similar to Carson Palmer for this team, personally. Because I don't even think we have that much more talent on offense than we did with Palmer, to be quite honest. You have Waller, but that's about it. No, Russell Wilson, you are trading for a guy who's going to – do you think Russell Wilson will become more mobile and more fast and more elusive as the years go on? I don't think so. I already saw it this year, him getting tracked down in the backfield a lot easier than he used to. That goes away. He's in his 30s right now. It just that typically your mobility doesn't stay with you that long, especially like him, a guy who runs a lot more than other quarterbacks do. And right now he's throwing to DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and they're still not that good. Where do you think this team would have gone with Ruggs? I think we could have made a run. Offense was coming to start this year. Absolutely. I think if Ruggs is on this team, look at the play on 4th down. Did you guys see the play to Deshaun Jackson? I'm actually tired of Deshaun Jackson, and I think fans have these fairy tale views of Deshaun Jackson. But there's, he made a play on 4th down where he got free. It was very much like the 4 verticals where the slot just kind of runs like a deep kind of crosser. Henry Ruggs takes that to the house, right? Deshaun Jackson goes out of bounds. He's older, right? Deshaun Jackson's better days are behind him. That we knew that when we got him. At least I did. I think we are hosting this playoff game against the Bengals if Ruggs is in there. I don't think the Raiders are a top seed. I don't think that. I think they are flip-flop seeds with the Bengals, and they're hosting this game indoors. Do they still win? I don't know, but the defense has played us different when we had Henry Ruggs. Okay. Defenses play us different. when we had Ruggs, right? And it's tough. It's tough to lose a guy like that in the middle of the season. It's not like they watched Henry Ruggs get carted off the field, an injury, something that happens in football, something that is normal that happens in football, even though it sucks. I mean, this was something they had to wake up to, right? Something they had to wake up to, look at their phones and be like, what the fuck? We don't have Ruggs anymore? So that's all I'm saying. The GM and the coaching hire to me are 10 times more important than what happens with Derek Carr, right? Because I think ultimately I feel more confident on their decision on Derek Carr if I actually trust the GM. But the day I trust Mike Mayock is the day I trust a crackhead park my car for me. I'm sorry, not going to happen. So yeah, I am, I'm proud of the way the Raiders fought this year because they outperformed their talent. Absolutely did. They absolutely outperformed their talent. My goal is to win a championship. I think every Raider fan's goal is to win a championship. I don't think anybody decides that it's good to lose a playoff game. I don't think anybody was happy. I don't think anybody was happy that they lost. I don't think anybody was given participation trophies. At least not anybody here. I see a lot of smart people here that watch the show. You have high class, high taste, I should say. I think that we as Raider fans need to want better from our front office. I think we have the worst front office and ownership in the league right now. I think we have a passive owner that doesn't exactly, he's kind of the opposite of his dad. He lets things linger too long before and allow them to become a problem and fester within the organization. Whereas Al probably pulled the trigger a little too quick on things. We need something in the middle. We need somebody with a better eye for talent. I don't want my owner super invested in the team. I just want my owner to hand the keys over to the right guy. Make the right hire at GM. Get rid of Mayock. Have some balls. I don't want to waste a year finding out if Mike Mayock's good. Because you know what? If Mike Mayock was good, he would have had a shouting match with John Gruden. He would have said, we're not drafting Alex Leatherwood, at 16 or whatever the hell they were picking at. We're not drafting Damon Arnett. We're not drafting, guys that have no business being taken where they are. And if Mike Mayock should have walked off the job if he was not being heard as the GM of the team, if he didn't have any say in any of those picks, he should have walked out of there. Why would anyone stay for 2.5 years where their opinion didn't matter, right? Especially a guy who had a successful TV career, could easily go back to NFL Network, go right back on there and get out of here. John Dorsey's an interesting name. I like him more than Mayock. Is he my number one guy? No, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure GM names. I'm not big on it. The minute somebody got hired, I'd have to look up their history, where they come from, maybe some intel where people might know. But I'd like to poach somebody from a successful organization like Pittsburgh, who are we talking about? Like, yeah, not maybe Kansas City a little bit, but like Baltimore, teams that have drafted well at the back end of the draft don't always have to have a high pick to make a good draft pick. I would definitely go back. I would poach somebody from those organizations. Maybe the draft matters to me more than anybody. The draft matters to me more than anything, more than free agency, more than anything. And a team I think drafts really well. I think they're not super well coached right now, but I think the Chargers draft really well. Asante Samuel, Justin Herbert, Derwin James, they've made a lot of good picks over the years. I'd try to poach somebody from that organization as well. Maybe somebody who's a scout in there. I almost hand them the keys early. You know what I mean? I give somebody a good scout. I want to win the draft more than anything. But John Dorsey's interesting. He has a better track record, certainly, than Mike Mayock does. So, yeah. I gave my thoughts on Watson earlier, but just real fast in case you weren't here. Watson, for me, I have a hard time believing that with as many pending cases or whatever, he's already trying to pay off women and stuff like that. That still sounds like a mess. We don't know what kind of shape he's been in. I haven't seen any Deshaun Watson workout videos or anything. Not saying he hasn't been working out. I just haven't seen that. I would hope that Deshaun Watson's price has gone down from the 3 first-round picks that people were speculating mid-season. If it is 3 first-round picks, somebody like Philadelphia could give up all those picks this year if they wanted to. Now, I would then with Deshaun Watson, it's tough for me to say with how, we're in a different era, right? In the NFL, it's a little bit more woke now. So I would imagine that even when Deshaun Watson gets activated, because he's on the commissioner's exempt list right now, if he gets back activated with the team, he's probably getting an 8-game suspension, in my opinion, whether he's convicted or not. I think the NFL would have to do that as a PR move at that sort. So Deshaun Watson, I love the talent, love the player, I think he's fantastic. I would have to know more about his situation before I give up valuable picks, right? For a guy like that. He's good though. He's a game changer. Absolutely. The player himself, I'm all in on. So, that might be it for me tonight. Do you guys have any more questions? If you guys have one or two more questions, I could get to that. I don't think I was missing anything as far as what I wanted to talk about tonight. But if you guys do have any more questions, just let me know. As far as off-season stuff, I don't do these as consistently during the offseason. However, we are in the middle of a head coaching search right now. We're in that. So that's going to have me on here. Last year, we were on the Gruden 10-year deal. So as soon as the season was over, I didn't really want to talk much about anything. And there was nothing to talk about until free agency happened. But now that we have, we're going to be having some, you would think they're going to bring in a new coach. If it's Rich, then, whatever. But if we do have a different coach, I will be doing, some stuff, maybe bringing people on to talk about it, some more scheme oriented guys. But all right, a couple questions. All right, yeah, let's get to it. Biggest offseason need for me. I'm going to say it like this. I'm going to say talent. Name one position that the Raiders could draft or bring in a player where you'd say, we didn't need any help there, right? Name one position, right? Wide receiver, they need help. Offensive line, they need help. Quarterback, you could certainly upgrade over Carr, right? If you thought there was a guy better than Carr, sure, right? I don't think there are a lot of guys feasibly that we could bring in, but I think there's, defensive line. You could always get better on the defensive line. Linebackers, sure, right? I like Divine Diablo, but if you found a stud linebacker, right? Like, go get them. Corners, absolutely. They just get better everywhere, right? Depth. Just got, you look at the 49ers, they lose Nick Bosa. You look at, Nick Bosa goes out in this 49er game. They are balling. Still rushing the passer. Still rushing the passer. They're 6-7 deep with guys who can rush the passer. They didn't have their elite guy, but they were still able to get pressure. And that's what I want the Raiders to do. Is if Max Crosby, something happens to Max Crosby next year, I don't want the pass rush to go to shit, right? I just want a bunch of guys who can rush, to be honest, like I said, there's really not a position that the Raiders can't upgrade at, which isn't a bad position to be in if you're a GM coming in, right? I actually would like that job if I was somebody coming in. If Mark Davis tells me I have no say in anything, you go out there and get your guys, the Raiders could draft best player available in the draft and still address everything and not be redundant at positions of need, right? They could get whoever they wanted. They could, all right, I want this guy. It makes sense. Thoughts on Flores? I like Brian Flores. I think he's really good. I think he was an alpha in an organization that kind of wanted him to be a beta, right? I believe they took Tua Tagovailoa. He didn't like Tua. He wanted to start Fitzpatrick over Tua. And I just didn't seem like he liked Tua very much. How watching Tua play, it's pretty tough for me to be like, well, who gets excited about Tua Tagovailoa? He doesn't really look that good. He wanted Justin Herbert, and he wanted them to trade for Deshaun Watson. Both those guys are objectively better than Tua Tagovailoa. So it looks like he's got a good head on his shoulders. The one thing I'm worried about bringing in a defensive mind, right, as your head coach, and it's a lot of people talk about this. If you bring in a defensive coordinator, and this is down the road, right? It shouldn't stop you from hiring your guy. If you bring in a defensive coordinator, he's typically not going to have a say on the offense, right? Typically, he's going to leave that up to his offensive coordinator. Now, if your offensive coordinator is really good, because your offensive coordinator almost every single year will get hired as a head coach, and you have to constantly find a new offensive coordinator. Whereas if you have an offensive minded head coach, your defensive coordinators don't get plucked as easy as for head coaches. It still happens, but it's not as easy to pluck them as you do the OC, you know, as far as your OCs leaving for coaches. But you end up that's just a problem you run into with defensive minded coaches. That being said, I think Brian Flores is good. I'd be happy if they hired him. So that'd be great. I think they should bring him in. And I think, I could see him probably coaching Denver next year, to be quite honest, with the defense they already have there. And that would give me a little bit of a fright if Denver figures out quarterback. Let's see. I've kind of talked about this. The alpha beta thing really dictates your worldview, doesn't it? Okay, well, whatever. I mean, what do you have a better system? Either you're an alpha or you're a beta, right? I mean, some betas are better than other betas, but sometimes I don't see a lot of alphas in the Raider organization. I think that's why we are where we are. It is what it is. What else? Would we be in the postseason if it weren't for COVID? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe we don't win that Cleveland game. You got something to that, but I don't know. I mean, would the Bengals have won the game if they didn't blow the whistle on us on third down? I mean, my way. The Raiders have had so much bad luck. If a team misses a few guys with the sniffles, I'm not tripping, dude. Like, to be honest, I'm not going to be like, oh wow, we got lucky there. We literally had a ball. I forgot to talk about this in the third. I think it was in the fourth quarter, close to the last drive, where we settle for a field goal down 10 because a ball hits off of Sam Hubbard's head that was going to Darren Waller, and he was going to have a walk-in touchdown, right? So whenever the Raiders get a little bit lucky, I put that's a drop in the bucket to the rest of the league. Do you think the Harbaugh thing is real? This will be my last question of the night. No more questions, please, because I'm going to get out of here. But Harbaugh thing is real. I absolutely would want Jim Harbaugh. He's probably my number one guy, realistically, that we could bring in. Maybe there's a young offensive mind that I don't really know about. Maybe there's some people talk about Nathaniel Hackett, all these guys. I don't really know anything about those guys, who they are as men, as leaders. But Jim Harbaugh had a successful career as an NFL coach. I thought he brought Michigan back to, I think the Ohio State thing's a little overrated for anybody that's not a Michigan fan. Like the whole, he couldn't beat Ohio State. He did this year, but even then he brought them back. To a top, top 4 or top 5 team. And that's Harbaugh is my number one guy. I think he's a great motivator. He's an offensive minded guy. And what my ultimate thing, I was talking about this with somebody. What would be crazy? Now, this is going to suck for people in the Bay Area, including myself. If the 49ers win the Super Bowl this year with Jimmy G, how do they get rid of Jimmy G? They don't, right? But then you have a quarterback named Trey Lance that you traded up 3 first-round picks for to take Jimmy G's job. At that point, it's pretty tough to move on from Jimmy G, and you have a guy that you traded all these picks for sitting on the bench. What if you hired Jim Harbaugh, then trade for Trey Lance and bring in Greg Roman, the man who brought Lamar Jackson into the league and had him playing well early, as well as Lamar's natural talent? That would be insane, right? That would be insane. But yeah, Jim Harbaugh is my number one guy so far. I was teasing Pete Carroll earlier, right? I actually do like that, but it doesn't seem like I don't think Pete Carroll's going to get fired. He didn't yet, so that's not going to happen. But that's it for me, guys. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get another beer. Enjoy this rest of this. Looks like Kansas City's pulling away from the Steelers. Unfortunate, but maybe the Steelers could cover the 12 points. You know what I'm saying? But all right, guys, that's it for me. Everybody have a safe week. Raider fans, I think if we make the right hire, I think we're going to be in a good spot. So that's really what it is. Don't worry so much about Carr. Let's worry about the